Hello everyone and welcome to Abstract's Anecdotal.
Welcome back.
Hello Matthew.
Hello. How you doing?
Very good. Welcome back. This one's going out. So this is slightly a different little kind of format than we normally do. We're going to test this out. We're going to see how it goes.
Yeah.
But it's just something that we'd like to try because sometimes life gets in the way, but we don't want to not release content and talk about interesting stuff. So we've had this idea for an Abstract's Anecdotal where we wax lyrical about things we're thinking about. So don't expect any real research here or references.
No, there might be some that fly out from left
Yeah.
or right field,
Yeah, for sure.
but we're not researching because each of our episodes we deeply research.
Yeah, this is just for us to talk some shit
Yeah,
about
pretty
what we're
much.
thinking about. So, with this being the first anecdotal, it's important, none of this is referenced. We're not representing anyone's views. I doubt that we're even representing our own views.
No.
We're just,
Absolutely not. These views will change.
100%.
Yeah.
With every new thing that we read, even if we do have any views at all. But we are thinking about the New Year's, and the new opportunities a new year brings.
Absolutely.
And with that comes resolutions.
And how do you set resolutions? Have
Yeah.
you set resolutions before?
I have, yes.
You have.
I have set resolutions before.
What sort of resolutions? Have
Just,
you set?
lose weight, get fitter,
Have-
eat less crap, don't have too many vices. All the standards.
All the standards.
All the standards.
How did that go?
Not very well.
How long do you reckon you last?
It depends.
Right.
It depends how strong that drive is. It depends if I've made a declaration.
Sounds like we're talking about something else.
If I've thought in my own brain, if I'm sat on the couch one day and I'm like, right, I'm going to eat less biscuits. I'm not going to buy a pack of Fox's creams for 50p and eat all of them with one cup of tea,
Yeah.
right? I've just thought about that on my own. I've not told anybody. I'm just sitting on the couch
Yeah.
and I'm just saying I'm doing it. I'm not making a declaration to the world that I'm going to do it. If I went on social media and made a thing, then I'm going to do it. I keep it up for at least a few weeks.
Yeah.
At least a few weeks, a month. Because I've told everyone.
Yeah. The social shame kicks in.
It holds you to account. You hold yourself to account.
You need everybody else to fail at theirs first so that you incur the least judgment.
Well, yeah, that's it.
basically.
That's it. Well, that's certainly part of it. But there's something more real about a resolution when you tell everybody that you're going to do it.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I did the same thing when it was August time and I was coming back from holiday and I was like, you know what, I need to lose weight. So I need to lose weight and get up earlier. So I went straight to Instagram with my 25 followers at that time. It's really not that different
25
now.
of the best followers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I basically started putting it was based on Jocko Willink, Jocko. No, and if anyone doesn't know Jocko, Navy SEALs. I mean, he's a hard man. But
Just go search Jocko, man, and
Jocko.
then you'll make your own assessment.
change your life.
He will, yeah, he will.
But he takes a picture of his watch every morning. It's at 4:30. I mean, very regularly it's earlier than that. So I was taking a picture of like my watch at 4:30 every morning, getting up, going out,
Getting after it.
getting after the commute to work. But so I held myself accountable. So I was also trying to do like pictures of the gym as well. And for a good couple of months, I was like on it. And then I was like back at uni, and I I couldn't. And I always told myself, at least if I fail at 4:30, I'll be a morning person. Like,
Right.
right? And so that's what happened. But holding myself accountable, even to those 25 people, and actually telling people at work that I was doing it made a big difference to my commitment to that. Because I tell you, some mornings, it was like, I can't be bothered to get out of bed. It's 4:30 in the morning. I mean, there's nothing. But I thought, no. People will know. And so the social proofing does help, does get you out, does get you after it.
Oh, completely, man. Completely. You don't want to look like a failure.
No.
You don't want to look like you're full of shit. You know what I mean? That's another thing. You don't want to look like also a failure. Because the thing is these things stack up. I've almost got a limitless list of things I've started that people who know me very well know I did not finish.
Really?
Like, oh, God, mate. It's like, I know we can't really talk about him now, but Louis C.K., when he said, I have all these believies, but I follow almost none of them. It's like, that's almost exactly what it is. It's like, I'll have a belief, I'll see something, and it'll be a belief, and I'll be like, oh, right, boom, I need to follow this belief. And I get very passionate very quickly.
Yeah.
About stuff. I'm quite sensitive to things. And so that's maybe a resolution for next year, is to be
less
less
sensitive.
or certainly less outspoken.
Outspoken or because you're an extroverted
Well, less
character,
committed,
aren't
less
you?
committed to an idea.
Yeah, I mean, because you're an extroverted character, though, right? So you're the sort of person that looks out at the world and sort of engages with it and chases after things.
Yeah, but you learn that. You learn how to do that. I wasn't always extroverted.
Well, you're not. Well, sort of.
No, not at all. You got to learn how to do that.
Yeah, you can learn it. You can learn it. But like, for example, when I say extroverted and introverted, I sort of mean where do you get your energy from? People or being alone?
Well, increasingly now alone.
That's interesting.
When I was younger, people definitely.
Oh, okay.
There was the thing to be accepted, or like to have a social group, or to have a friendship group, and that's very stimulating when you're young. And when people start paying you attention,
Yeah.
and you actually do start forming friendship groups, that's alluring. But now in my early 30s, people are increasingly frustrating. Actually, I find that the time I spend with people is more selective. The people that I choose to spend time with is more selective than rather just being extroverted for the sake of extroversion. And also, I do have friends who are just extroverted for it's almost an uncontrollable extroversion, and that can lead them into some holes, some black holes.
Absolutely.
Being too free and loose with everything.
I mean, most of my good friends are sort of just overly extroverted. I find them just generally more interesting. But then I don't know why I'm asking you this, because actually we've had conversations before, and we're both actually quite high on trait openness, and that'll probably be why you're very open to new things, more empathetic, more sensitive to these things. So, okay, so that's interesting. So you see lots of different opportunities, you see that kind of landscape of potential, and you go, oh, this, and you're constantly looking at different things.
You just discern, but I do it based on what I think I'm going to enjoy, what's going to bring me pleasure. Now. Yeah. Before it's very much like I want to be accepted, so what's going to bring everybody else pleasure?
Okay.
To make me interesting, to make me accessible, to make me attractive to people. But now it's like I feel I feel a degree of comfort in that. I feel a security in myself to the degree where, extroverted to an extent whereby I can just start talking to anyone. If that's a form of extroversion,
I've noticed that. Yeah,
absolutely. I don't have a problem starting a conversation with people at all. And if that conversation fails, I don't take it personally. I just move on to the next person.
It's a difficult one with you, though, because you've obviously done fundraising in the past.
Yeah, so my rejection barometer is
totally broken now.
I just don't have one. You just move on. If it's not working, I move on. And I have no problem moving on. It's like, because there's always going to be another conversation.
Yeah.
So if that's a point of extroversion, then yeah. But I wouldn't say that I'm exuberant. I'm not like jumping into a room saying like, look at me, all that kind of stuff.
No, that's true. Yeah. Okay. Well, so you've set.
So what, do you want to become more extroverted in the new year? Is that part of your?
Well, kind of no. So I mean, I had a tripartite thing. I said, for me, it's intellect, social, and embodiment. Because when I was thinking about this, because you've read Jonathan Haidt's Happiness Hypothesis, haven't you?
Great book.
It's the idea, that you are your cognition, your mind, your rationality is like a rider on a big elephant, and the elephant is your emotions. And when you head in the same direction, you feel like you're in control, and then every so often the elephant heads off to the left, and you realise that you are not in control of your emotions. And Tony Robbins talks about this as well in terms of when you set resolutions. He says push factors, and when he says push factors, he means knowing you should do something. You should lose weight, you should do this. They're not good enough. You need pull factors, and when he says pull factors, he means things that make you want to do them.
Like encouragement, personal encouragement to carry on doing
just
something.
Things you want to do. Things the elephant will walk towards. Things that, the rider on top who knows what he should do doesn't have to think about, because the emotional elephant underneath is just going to walk in that direction. So I was trying to think, like what resolutions can I set that are different to what I should be doing? Yeah, because if I should have been doing it, I should, then it's probably not something I wanted to do in the first place, because, I would have done it. So it's a difficult one. And I think a lot of people, like you've said before, and I've done the same thing, you set resolutions that are based on losing weight, on, silly things, losing weight, earning more money, getting promotions, like just simple things like that. And
Just to come in on the point about the elephant, it reminds me
Yeah.
of something. When I was living in Bolton, when I was a teenager, I was walking through Bolton Town Centre and I met this guy. He was a Buddhist guy
Yeah.
called Nanda Gopa. Was the name. He was a really, really nice guy.
Okay.
But he told me this story about at on the front cover of the Bhagavad Gita, which is a religious text.
Yeah.
There's an image of a person. I think it's the Buddha. Controlling a chariot, and he's in a chariot, and the chariot is led by 5 horses, and the 5 horses are the senses.
Okay.
They represent the senses, and these horses will pull you whichever way the senses decide.
They just say, yeah,
You know.
okay.
But you have to eventually come over control of these horses, over your sensations. That's very similar, over your senses, sight, touch, smell, all these things that are pleasurable or distracting or whatever that's going to attract the horses. You need to eventually control these things, which is symbolized by the chariot, by the ropes that are controlling the senses. And that reminds me a lot about your elephant, about Haidt's elephant.
Yeah, I mean Haidt has this hypothesis that you can't really control it. You can kind of constrain some of its choices, but I don't know. It's difficult. I think you can. I'm actually of the school of thought where, let's just say, I have no evidence for this. I think given enough willpower, and given enough...
Is that what Haidt's saying? You can't control it?
I mean, I might have misremembered.
No, I don't know. I'm just asking, because it's been a while since I've read Happiness Hypothesis.
Yeah, it's been a while for me as well. Maybe I won't get into what he did and didn't say about it, but the overriding theme was, of course, that the emotions were key. And actually, that's been shown in all sorts of other studies as well that we won't get into now, but I was just thinking,
But Haidt's interesting, because in his later work, in The Coddling of the American Mind,
yeah,
it is very much like that. He talks about this elephant. It's the elephant, but extrapolated to the distractions, ADHD, all these kind of different disorders and things that Twenge talks about. He brings up Twenge's work, and we talk about Twenge quite a lot.
Yeah,
but that's like for me, that's what I think Haidt is more angling at. You have this capacity to be just led by these great forces. The capacity's there, For me, it's things are going to come in from the outside that you can't control. If you get a feeling,
life happens.
If you get a feeling of anger, you can't help that you feel angry about something. It's like, but you can kind of decide how long you feel angry about it.
I was going to say that your reaction to it you can control if you know how to control it.
This is it. But the initial thing you can't really do very much about, because that's based on you've got to respond. So you've got a coping mechanism.
Well, I always called that, before I studied psychology, I always called that the mental shotgun. So I was always of the opinion that I always thought. Because when I first started uni, in my first degree, I was very left-wing. And so, for example, I noticed in myself,
Me too.
I would see someone who was disabled. I said, my sister has Down syndrome, so it's not that... When I say disabled, it's someone's, for example, got no limbs. And I would see that person, and my mind would notice it. And that was all it took. It would notice it. And I go, oh, God, I'm such a bad person for noticing that. Noticing that. Of course, you'd notice all sorts of things. But that's the mental shotgun. The mental shotgun goes, ooh, novelty. Ooh, the mental shotgun. But actually, who you are is the response that comes after that. So I always call that the mental shotgun. You can't control it. It just goes off. It goes, ooh, something different. But then, okay, how do you react after that? How do you follow up on that initial stimuli response?
The other thing is that you can follow up after this initial response. It makes it different than a shotgun. If someone blasts a shotgun in your face or in your body or whatever, it's very little comeback after something like that.
Very literal, but yeah.
Great thing about, if someone fires a shotgun into your brain, it can rewire itself. It's incredibly capable of adapting and healing and reprogramming. You can change an opinion on a penny. If you think of societies like big societies, almost overnight, like if you look at Nazi Germany, overnight in terms of ideology, Germany changed. On a penny. Like if you think of a turning circle for a society that went through all that it did and did all that it did, basically in the space of a day, that changed. And it's been that way ever since. It's just got stronger and stronger and stronger. This change. So ideas can change, brains can change. They can wire up completely. That's what's great about a shotgun to the mind. Not an actual physical one. It's going to blow your mind out. But a big shot of an idea can rewire your brain. Can just make you view the story a different way.
Yeah, so you mean instead of me noticing something, you're saying that something can just appear to me, and if I'm receptive to it, it can totally change my opinion of something. Is that what you mean?
Absolutely, 100%. And it's like, what's great about the brain, because you all your experiences are working all the time. Your brain's always working all the time. You might not even be looking for that change. Just something might happen, and it'll affect something in your perception, in the way you view the world, that you hadn't sought out to change that day.
Well, that's the thing, because of course you're never looking for it. If you do go looking for it, it's better when you're looking for something you've lost. It's bloody difficult to find.
But with the resolution you are looking for something.
Well, this is it, and this is actually the thing I was thinking about. So this is something I've been chewing on for a while, because I'll preface this by saying how it relates to what you just said. If you're not looking for something, you have to have part of your psyche, at the very least, in the world of chaos, of the unknown, of uncertainty, of something of the other. And you have to have the other half in order, what you do know, tradition, a safe space that you understand. You have to be on that kind of precipice. And what sparked it in my mind as I was reading about extreme sports. Because you know Hunter S. Thompson?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, original Gonzo journalist.
Yeah.
He, for example, Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. If you don't know him,
Diary.
just Google him.
He was amazing. He killed himself with a shotgun. So it's funny you brought
Yeah,
up the
actually,
shotgun.
yeah, I did think about that.
He killed himself with a shotgun, and then Johnny Depp fired him out of this giant fist. There was this construction of a giant fist, because that's how he wanted to go.
Well, because him and Johnny Depp were tight. So there's a lot of lectures that Johnny Depp's given about him, which I listened to those. I thought they were great. He was a great speaker. But
speaking just on a side, did you ever see Where the Buffalo Roam?
No.
That's one of the original incarnations in film of Hunter S. Thompson.
Oh.
And that is played by Bill Murray.
Oh, that's interesting.
He does a fantastic job. But it's like the old school Gonzo, early 80s, I think that
Roam.
film was made, Where the Buffalo Roam.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
But he talked about, edge work. He talked about edge work. And he used to talk about his drugs. But it's about being on the edge of order, where you border with chaos. If anyone listening and thinking, what the hell is he talking about, order and chaos? I mean, it's like it's a well-trodden thing in the mind. The left hemisphere is dealing with order, the known, and the right hemisphere deals with the unknown, chaos. So when I say chaos, I mean the unknown. So you're on that border, and then I was reading about extreme sports, and I thought, well, that's like Vygotsky. And so this just sounds like an episode, but it's all going around my head, right? Because I'm thinking, okay, there's a zone of
It's amazing what goes around your head.
Not a lot, and every so often this happens.
Not a lot.
Not a lot, and then every so often it's the history of Christmas and New Year's. No, so it's like you get the zone of proximal development, to be on that border of the known and the unknown. Same thing again, right? And then if you think of the Shuya in Buddhism, the idea of the void, you can't have a square without an internal and an external, right? Because if there's no internal, then there's no square. Because internal, you get these things together like the yin and the yang. You get the black and the white together, like two fishes chasing each other. And if the white, the order, eats the black, the chaos, then you can only see the white by virtue of the fact it's against the black. And so if the white eats the black, it disappears. So they have
Something
to coexist.
only exists because the opposite version of it exists.
It has to coexist with its opposite. So I was thinking about this, and I was thinking, well, that is almost where you find meaning, right? And it's what we were just saying. It was saying that you find things that change you for the better, and you don't realise you're looking for them when they come to you unexpectedly, and you only find them when you're on that border or close to that border. You only find them when you are outside of your comfort zone, is what we might say colloquially, right? When you've left order and you're on the border of chaos. And I just kept thinking about synthesizing them, because what happened recently, I started doing swing dancing, as I sort of messaged you about.
I've always wanted to do that. That and salsa.
Yeah.
I really want to do
What about
salsa.
tango?
Yeah, just any form of dancing. I love
Yeah.
it. I think it's cool. I think it's a really great hobby to have.
Well, here's the thing, right? And this is why the order and chaos thing hit me, because I tried doing ballet. And the reason I tried doing ballet was because...
You were fighting at the time.
No, I used to do fighting. I used to do combat sports, but then I got a lot of injuries and all the rest of it, plantar fasciitis, and my feet, it's like walking on glass, right? But then it kind of recovered, but you have to be careful with them. So I thought, what better way to train my feet than doing ballet, right? Not point work, but like, good for your feet. But it's very ordered ballet, you can tell. You watch it, it's very ordered.
Yeah. And it's bad for a lot of your body, actually.
Well, when you take it to the extremes, if you do like demi-point, where you're going like just up onto your tiptoes, that's fine. If you go onto point, where you're going onto your toes, whole different kettle of fish. So
I once
actually,
had a friend in the morning. She was a dancer, contemporary dancer. She'd crack everything in the morning, like every bone. Like you just be like I crunch my fingers, just
same.
normal,
Well, it's my back. I do my back as well.
Yeah, right. But she was, everything was cracking as she was stretching out. Just all the. I was like.
That's not ideal,
that
is
is
it?
crazy, man. The things that dancers put themselves through.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, contemporary ballet, all of that. I mean, professional dancers especially. But the thing that I was thinking was, because I did swing dancing, and it's a social dance. So I'm doing like 1920s, 30s, and 40s style, right? And it's primarily a social dance, and it's primarily improvised. Of course, when you're learning it, you have to learn the order. And I was thinking, well, mate, I couldn't stop smiling through the whole thing. The whole thing is brilliant. I can't stop thinking about it. Like, I'm totally obsessed with this.
Endorphins go in and all that
Mate,
kind of stuff.
I was sweating.
Yeah.
It was, endorphins flying. But genuinely, I was like, there's something about this that's different. And maybe it's because I dance like a madman. I dance like a madman when I'm drunk. And it's a bit like swing dancing in the most layman form.
So when you say it's improvised swing dancing, when you're talking about the improvisational style of it, does this improvisation exist within some set rules, like blues?
Well, no. Well, kind of, yes. So this is the point. So you've got potential, because it's all improvised. There's potential. You don't know what's going to happen. Chaos. And then you overlay order onto that. So you set a few rules, because both partners know the rules. You can just go into something spontaneously. You both understand those ordered rules, and it just flows. And then out of the spontaneity of the chaos, you just do something else, and you understand the rules. And I noticed it was this overlaying of, because my mind is quite ordered. My mind is fairly ordered, and I was like overlaying order onto chaos, essentially. That's essentially, in the symbolic term, what you're doing. And I started thinking, well, why do I enjoy this so much? And then I was thinking about martial arts. So when I was doing combat sports, martial arts, I literally could not stand doing like katas and like routines.
Yeah.
Drove me mad.
I used to do them in jiu-jitsu.
Drove me insane. And the only time I ever did belt gradings was when I needed it for the insurance to fight. Right? You needed certain belts to be able to get the insurance to fight. And so I was thinking, well, what did I really loved about martial arts? The sparring. Same thing. Potential. Chaos. You overlay order onto chaos. And my mind is fairly ordered, and I was thinking, maybe that's it. Maybe I find the place between order and chaos, or where those two things combine and coalesce, like the yin and the yang. Maybe that's where I find those things that will drive me forward in the right direction.
Well, that's one of the principles of meditation. When you talk about the metabhavna, or the mindfulness of breathing,
Yes.
the precept of that exercise is that the end of the external breath or the breathing out, at the end of that breath, that's the same point as the start of a breath.
Yes.
So you realize that breathing in and breathing out, they start from the same point. The end is the same as the beginning. This is the edge that you're talking about, almost in a meditative context, because that's where you are. You're always in that center. It's the middle way. You're talking about the middle way.
Yeah.
The middle path.
The middle path.
Yeah.
Exactly. And the middle between what is the order and the chaos. I mean, you mentioned before about the two faces and the one in the middle, and yeah, it is the middle way. And I realised that.
Oh, the two faces. You're talking about dualism, the dualism of man.
Yeah.
Yeah, two faces either side, and the face in the middle. Yeah.
But I realised maybe that's it. Maybe that's what I'm looking for, because every time I find it, it hits me differently. it hits me differently. It hits me differently to ballet, because ballet is very ordered, and it just never, it had no effect like that on me. I actually enjoyed it. I enjoyed going. But when I was at swing dancing, with my mind that's fairly ordered onto a chaotic environment and that synthesis, it was like it was almost like you understand what people mean by a soul.
Well, it's jamming. You're doing with the body what good musicians do all the time.
Yeah.
Like if you take 5 jazz musicians, a drummer, a bass player, a saxophonist, you know, and singer, whatever.
Yeah.
They all know how jazz works. And they have this to an understanding, to where they go like, okay, what key is it in? B sharp. Right, we're doing B sharp. Okay, cool. And then go.
Exactly. That's it.
And that's like this, you know. You. If there's just instruments on the stage and there's just musicians and no rules, then you just need to establish the rules of a game. You need to know what game you're playing first. It's like, is the game salsa? Right, so we're going to play that. It's like, I could take chess pieces on a board and decide a new way to play with those pieces. I'm not playing chess.
Yeah.
That's what I think it is. That's the same like meditation. It's the same when you get on a roller coaster, in a way.
Yeah.
You know that your body's going to get thrown through all different kinds of G-forces, and it's not a natural thing.
Oh, yeah.
And you'd never, ever do that normally.
No.
But you know that within the context of the ride that's going to keep you safe, you're going to experience all these things, but you're going to come out of it. You're going to get out the ride at the end of the other side. It's the same with dancing. It's the same with jazz music. It's the same with any kind of music that you think, okay, blues, we're going to do blues in C.
Yeah.
We're just going to go for hours. And, you know, the singer will be able to do that because blues works in a very similar way. Even if you're going to freestyle blues lyrics, you always know that the first 2 lines are going to be the same. It's like a limerick.
Yeah.
Blues isn't like a limerick, but if you're going to write
there's
a limerick,
there's
a structure. There's always a structure. And this structure doesn't need to be a prerequisite before you arrive that time. You just know, this is how that works.
Yeah.
This is how blues works. It doesn't matter whether it's C, D, E, F sharp, G, B minor. It's always going to work that way. Same with salsa. Same with martial arts.
Yeah.
You know, you can be as free as you want. Yeah, I think it was you was telling me about Bruce Lee. And to have the no mind. The idea you've got to be free, and you learn all these things so that you can be free with them.
Yeah. I mean, this is him building Jeet Kune Do.
Yeah, right.
He was basically the forerunner of mixed martial arts. It was you learn everything so that you can free yourself from it.
Yeah. Well, that's where I think you are. I think that's where that edge is.
Yeah.
It's the edge of being comfortable in the fact that you're giving a good account of the rules. So you can perform the rules to a good standard. If there was no freedom involved and someone was looking at a robotic salsa dance or a robotic tango, you'd get through the bits. And then the creativity comes with the experience you have with it. You get better and better at manipulating it's not even you get better at manipulating the transitions between the main parts.
Oh, yeah.
It's like when you're learning guitar, you'll learn C, you'll learn G, you'll learn D. And it's hard, so you just C, and I've got that. And then it'll take you 10 minutes to move your fingers to where G is.
Because you've got a vat of chaos.
Yeah.
And you've got a little island of order.
Yeah.
And you can expand that outwards, and you can live on that edge.
Yeah.
All the time.
That's what doing a solo is. A guitarist will step out doing a massive solo, and he'll know that in 12 bars' time, he'll be back to where he needs to be because everybody understands that.
Yeah.
So that edge, and that's important because it's adrenaline. It gives you a sense of adrenaline.
Well, this is it. This is the whole idea of edge work. It's like it came out of the idea of, or the question of, why do people do things that are just simply risk taking? There's no payoff.
Yeah.
Like, it's just risk. Why do they do it? Like roller coasters and all the rest of it. Well, maybe it's because you're living on the edge of order and chaos. Sometimes that is the edge of, the chaos is possibly death. No, that's extreme sports, right? And that's quite extreme chaos, but that's where you are. And that came as a way of explaining why people do certain things, because common psychology doesn't give any account of it. But then I was thinking, common psychology gives no account of why I'm enjoying swing dancing so much.
Yeah, right.
And maybe there's something more deep set, or maybe it's something that's just fundamental as the archetypes of order and chaos. So that's what I've been mulling that over.
Well, it might not just be that. Yeah, that's one side of it.
Yeah.
But it could also just be connection.
It could be that. I mean, definitely. It was a weird one for me because I've never done partner dancing before. And the only connection I've had is one where I've been on top of someone trying to break the neck. You know, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, or punching them, Muay Thai. But suddenly to offer your embrace to somebody, for them to accept it, and to live through music with somebody, and to make that person your world, because the teacher's very clear on that. You begin by making that person your world. That is totally different to anything I've done before. And I've already noticed my sort of... I don't normally like it when people touch me.
Mm.
I've noticed myself put my hands on people's backs, and I was like, wait, hold on. Yeah, well, I laugh. Yeah, oh, okay, interesting. Okay, so it already starts like just... It's totally punctured my reality.
The space between the shoulders, not the small of the back.
Yeah.
For anyone thinking.
Yeah, but it's just crazy. It literally has punctured my reality, and I felt myself very clearly on that edge of my own order and then the chaos. And that was what I was trying to think about. That when I was thinking about resolutions.
But people do this
how do I
every
find
day.
that?
It's just a result of the culture that you live in. That's just crazy aberrant to you. Like if I go to like when I went to the south of Spain when I was growing up, like where my mum lives, and I go to Granada and I'd meet my friends in Granada and we'd go out and they'd just dance the Spanish way.
Yeah.
That's not the way we dance.
Yeah.
You know, it's physical, it's touchy, it's all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that that's like not normal, and it needs to be. It's actually more natural.
Yeah.
I think we're just kind of denied that a lot in big cities like London.
Absolutely.
There's that that movie he talks about it. That rubbish movie. Well, it's not a rubbish movie. People loved it, but it's called Crash.
Oh, Crash.
And he talks about the sense of touch. Not the really amazing one by David Cronenberg, but there was one made about racism.
That's the one that I had to watch at school over and over again.
Yeah.
Racism. Yeah.
He talks about the sense of touch and that people have to go crashing into each other just to feel anything. And I can vibe with that in big cities, man. He was obviously talking about Los Angeles, but you can see that in London. You know, you watch some of the best movies about this. Taxi Driver happens in New York.
Yeah.
You know, we simply are not in contact with each other. And we're in physical contact with each other when you live in London, but it's generally when you're jammed into a tube, and
it's different.
It's very different. It's an invasion almost. Everyone's invading everybody, but just to touch, to have the sensation of touch, it's denied.
Yeah.
It's denied often in our culture, in our in our makeup, whereas other places they don't. You know.
Well, that's it, and that's what's really opened my eyes.
And where does your dance come from?
My dance?
What dance are you doing? You're doing
swing. It's swing, but it's like Lindy Hop 20s, 30s, 40s style. So
yeah, right.
We're talking like it's very, very different.
But if you were doing salsa, you know what I'm saying? It's like the hop, that dance you're talking about. It's very hands together, bodies out away. Like things.
I don't know, mate. I mean, yeah.
Is it?
You think that
close together?
The thing is, I mean, so the person that I'm learning under, she's a full-time swing dancer and a burlesque dancer, and she trained with some of the originals like Frankie Manning. And I was lucky enough to go to a drop-in class where she was like, let's just talk about the fundamentals. It was a beginner's class, but the fundamentals of what this dance is. It is to have a come-hither attitude. It's to hold that person and for that person to be your world. And that's where it started, right? And it was like when you're up like this, when you're up right in their face and you look at them and they're meant to be your world. And it is just as much as any salsa or tango. It's just as sexual's the wrong word. Yeah, sexual's the wrong word.
There's an intimacy.
Yeah, exactly. It's just as intimate as those. You're right there, and they're your world,
and you need to do that
different.
Because how are they going to dance right if they're not your world?
Well, yeah, especially when you're the leader, because you have to lead them, so you have to be totally focused on them.
It's the same in acting. This is why acting's so great on stage, as opposed to cinema sometimes, because on a stage everyone always has to be acting. In my acting classes, they call it offline acting. So when you're not talking, you got to be acting. Yeah, because audience is still there, but you're stood on the stage, but you're not talking right now. You still got to be acting. They can still see you. In a film, it's different. the camera might only be on one person for the next 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And very often, the person opposite that person isn't giving them anything.
Yeah.
Because they're not on.
Yeah.
So performances can really dwindle because they're not making them their world.
Yeah.
I remember making a film once, and we had a guy like strapped up into a chair. He was being tortured, and the guy who was torturing him, when the camera was on him, was finding it really difficult to deliver his lines.
Right.
And I loved these lines. I'd spent ages on them, and they were some of the best lines I'd written, like ever. I'd come up with this whole story. It was like, in my brain, it was great. I was like, why is this not working? And the actor said to me, he's like, I'm getting nothing off this guy. He's just sat in a chair. So I can't like threaten him. I can't like, he's not giving me any fear to feed off. It's nothing because the camera's not on him.
So then you really tortured
Then I was
him.
like, oh, right. And then, so then I was like, with the guy, I was like, you got to give him something, you know? So on a stage, and then with dancing, you need them giving you everything.
Yeah.
You can't just have one person check out of a dance because they're not the leader.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, same on
100%.
theatre, you know. So there's some nice parallels with that, actually.
Yeah. I mean that's all of that kind of is what made me start thinking about Order and Chaos. It might seem really sort of off-piste, but that really was, so to cycle back around, I was thinking, well, my resolutions have to be, like we've said, something you want to do. And what I want to do seems to be on the edge of Order and Chaos. Like, how the hell do you just set resolutions around that? You know, there's this other idea as well of like, you always want to be green and growing, because the two states of nature are green and growing and ripe and rotting, right? So I was like, well, I want to be developing. So developing, I want to enjoy it. There needs to be the potential for failure. So, I mean, for me, I've got intellectual, social, and embodied resolutions, but they're a bit wishy-washy, I've got to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, like, my resolutions aren't, you know, it's the basic stuff. Make sure I do my washing at the time I should, otherwise I fall behind. You know, it's, no, yeah, like the edge thing, it's strange to talk because you've found it in a way. You've already found what you like. You've already not even like that particular thing that it's dancing, but
I found the concept.
You found it, yeah.
But I don't know exactly where that concept can be found again.
I mean, evidently, almost everywhere that you've not done before.
Yeah, well, if you think about it,
involves your body and involves a partner and involves you giving something to someone.
Not necessarily just that as well, because when I was thinking about intellectual development, because I didn't want to do the whole like work and home thing. I don't want to separate it like that. I was thinking, okay, with intellectual development, what we're doing with the podcast is kind of similar, because you say there's order. The crazy thing about higher education in general is they sort of put you in a structure. They say, okay, there's knowledge out there, the unknown, and we're going to scaffold you and help you get there, and this is the known, and we're going to bridge that gap. At the same time, every so often, we're sitting down and going, let's pick some bloody random topic.
Right.
Sometimes it's seasonal, sometimes it's like relevant, sometimes it's what's really off-piste.
Yeah.
And then I find myself in the depths of some random area of knowledge, and I'm now totally in uncharted territory, looking for things I recognise. And then maybe I'm making lateral connections I wouldn't have done, because I go, oh, that seems similar to this other concept, because I'm still trying to work out where the hell I am in the academic landscape, in the intellectual landscape.
You just need art. No, you need more of an artistic landscape. You seem to be crying out for that. So it's an artistic expression, and it's coming through dance because you're physical anyway. You add the fighting stuff. You need something physical.
Well, that's it, because I've got quite an ordered psychology normally.
That's it. But you need more of it's almost like you're opening your mind to the creative side of things.
Well, yeah.
That's kind of freaky, and because you've got an ordered mind, you're trying to order it. So you're trying to go like, okay, well, why am I having these feelings? Why do I enjoy swing dancing so much? Oh, it must be because I'm living on the edge of this and that, and I need to order this.
Well, I'll rationalise it and I'll explain it.
Yeah.
But I know that ultimately the explanation exists in the fact that I'm on the edge of chaos.
Well, it's the undoing.
That's unexplainable.
It's the undoing. You just need to be doing the thing.
Well, the undoing of the order. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, like the order, like the understanding of it, trying to conceptualize it, put it in words that like that feeling. Yeah, that's exactly what probably you feel like you need to do, but you don't, but that's where it needs to stop.
Well, no,
And
yeah,
then
I
the
don't
rest
know.
can just be the experience.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the thing is, I found the concept. I just need to work out where I can find more of that concept. That's kind of what I was thinking with the resolutions. Like, what do I want to find more of my life? I want to find more of whatever that is. I don't need to explain it anymore, because I've already explained it enough. I know that I'm on the edge of chaos. So I need to find that, the edge of the unknown. Okay, fine. If that means we do a podcast where I'm constantly shifted to somewhere I didn't expect to be, fine. Like, because even when we try and make something relevant to what we're studying, we say, okay, how can we take a slightly different angle on this? Because it has to be interesting.
Bleeds off. But the good thing is that like you said at the beginning of this, there's the structure of the dance that you know it's always going to work.
Yeah.
That's what's good about the podcast. There's always the structure of science. So if I get lost,
And our education. That's always there. That's always there.
There is that scaffolding you talk about.
Yeah.
So even if I am lost and down a deep dark hole, it's like, all right, well, I've got some tools I can fall back on to try and get me out of it.
Exactly.
A little bit, just like your swing dancing. If I'm lost in these moves, just go back to basics. It was like Anthony Joshua and his jab against Andy Ruiz this last fight.
Yeah.
Back to basics. It's chaos, but I'm going to just put the simplest structure on top, hide behind my jab.
Yeah, he got really lambasted for that, but it's
masterful. It's a great way to beat a guy, man, and it's the way to beat that guy.
Yeah.
You can't, I mean, personal feelings aside about particular fighters, but he's not my favourite fighter, but, you look at that fight and you think, well, that's exactly what you needed to do. That was the plan. You didn't know how to deal with this guy. It's chaotic, so come back in here. What'd you do? Go north, get your jab sorted out and stay there.
Yeah.
And see how it works.
Well, because the great thing about martial arts as well, and what people won't realise when they're watching that, is that environment is chaos. Right? You don't know what's going to happen next. You really don't know, and it's quick. It's sudden. So he employed a strategy. He basically came to that and said, here's a structure, and I'm going to put it on this. Because I tell you what, if you go to a fight with a strategy that doesn't work, and then when you find out it doesn't work, you find out in the most chaotic possible way, because you're getting hit.
Yeah.
Getting hit, you don't know what's going on. When you get hit in the face, it's very confusing. It's actually not as painful as people always imagine getting hit is. That's not it, but it's very confusing. Because, maybe you go black for half a second, or maybe you can't see. Right? So it's for anybody to take a strategy, employ it, and for it to work, and to control that sort of environment where anything can happen, I mean, you've got to give them props. I mean, admittedly, it's easier in boxing than it is in something like mixed martial arts. But it's still, I mean, anyone wants to turn up to a boxing club and give it a go, you'll soon find it's fucking hard work.
Totally. But there's always them rules you can fall back on.
So, yeah, look, what are our resolutions?
Shoulder fix so I can start boxing again.
Shoulder
my
fix.
main resolution, yeah.
Yeah.
Get my shoulder fixed.
Yeah, speaking of boxing, shoulder fix for your boxing, okay.
Shoulder fix for the boxing, and keep harder on the fasting, man, because it was working, and just commit to certain things. And,
right, okay.
Just a bit more commitment on my side.
A bit more commitment to fasting.
What about you? More swing dancing?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a combo. Intellectual development. I've looked at the Ethical Society, so it's like, instead of having priests for your weddings, you have celebrants.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's them. So I've signed up for a year, and they do loads of lectures. I was like, I'm going to deal with that. I'm going to deal with the London Philosophy Society. I'm just going to learn a load of stuff, end up in a load of situations I wouldn't have expected to be in. A load of lectures I wouldn't have otherwise gone to. They do the history of saxophones before, some kind of saxophone orchestra. Just random stuff.
Yeah, man.
And then also the lecture before that was about military technology and drones. It's just crazily different. So I was perfect that for intellectual development, because it will take me to places my brain was never going to go. Social development, I was just thinking about how I need to just fucking cut people loose.
Well, the swing will do that as well.
Yeah, well, it will. So that's the combination. Just trying to cut people off that don't want. You always want to surround yourself with the people that want the best for you, right? And the people that you want the best for. And you have that reciprocity. And sometimes you just need to cut those people loose because you have no obligation to them. You have no obligation to go down with their ship if they're fucking determined to go down. Cut them loose. And the great thing about that dance is that it's a social activity. primarily. So I mean, there's that. There's the social thing of like just going with that and seeing where it takes me. Getting good enough at swing dancing that I can actually do the social dance later on. Because the social dance is up into the evening, and they have like a pub running at the same time. It's incredible. And the embodied development is just like you. It's like sort my neck out, keep going to the gym. I've lost 13 kilos. Now I want to put some weight back on in muscle, and not just aesthetic muscle, but like core muscle and around my neck and stuff. Really sort myself out. And yeah, and that swing as well. That swing, just I don't want my head. I don't want my body to be something to carry my head around.
Yeah.
With I don't want that. I want my body to be something to live through. So it's that. It's those three things.
So it sounds
Body,
like, you know,
mind.
good exercise, good social life, and things that are mentally stimulating.
Yes.
More of.
Those three things.
Yeah, those are a good three things.
And I think those are three things that no matter whether it's Jan, Feb, March, I go, well, I'm not doing it. I want to do that. Let's get on it.
This is the structure.
Let's chase it.
This is like the rules of the dance.
Yeah.
It's like you get to February, you're like, oh, I'm in a deep dark hole where I'm at. Oh, my resolutions framework. Let's go back to that.
Yeah,
That's
and
it.
it's not let's cuss out more food.
Yeah.
It's let's do that thing that I really wanted to do. So that's what it is for me.
Me too. Let's do the things that we really want to do next year that are going to be useful to us
Live
and
on the
helpful.
edge of
Exactly.
order.
Let's check in
Yes.
with ourselves in the new year, see how we're getting
Well,
on.
they say middle of February. Some people say it's 17th of January, but by March we should have failed. Right, that's the average failure date. By March, we definitely should have failed. So yeah,
We'll
let's check in.
March, see if we've failed.
Yeah,
Well, take it easy, man. Good
take it
anecdotal. Take it easy. In a bit.
that's it.
Thanks for listening to Abstract's Anecdotal. Music, as always, was Coffee by Cambo. That's available on the Free Music Archive. Link is in the description. For links to all our other episodes and their corresponding reference lists, head on over to abstractspodcast.com. That's abstractspodcast.com for more gin and journals. Good luck with your own personal resolutions, and a happy new year to everybody. Catch you next time.